Hello, and thank you for following me on my YouTube channel. This short video is helping you get the most out of doing your mock examinations because they are such an integral part of your revision process. No pain, no gain. And others have articulated, perhaps better than I can, the importance of doing mocks, making mistakes, picking yourself up again, and going on to succeed. You can't actually fail a mock because it is just a mock. So mock exams are safe places to make mistakes. Now, ideally, your mock exam, your attempt is marked by your tutor. Certainly, that's something that I build into all of my courses. But if your tutor's not going to mark your mock, maybe you need to get a study buddy so that someone else can look at your work, you can look at their work. Does it make sense? Are you communicating effectively? Now, when it comes to SBR, not everybody passes. And I sometimes wonder whether the students who don't pass, is it that they have a lack of knowledge that means they can't get 50%? Or do they have a lack of time that means they can't get 50%? Look, no one has perfect knowledge that will enable them to get 100%. That's not what we're about. We're about passing an exam. And everyone has that same limited amount of time. And so one of the things about mock exams is utilizing and practicing those skills to maximize your efficiency of using the limited amount of time that you have available. Anfield. Liverpool play at Anfield. And when they play at Anfield, they're at home. They're comfortable. And they normally win. When they play away, their win rate is less. So you have got to think about the ACCA practice platform as your Anfield, as your Old Trafford, as your Twickenham. You've got to make it your fortress. So do mock exams on the ACCA practice platform. And certainly I get my students to do that. That's why I set on my courses original mock exams on the ACCA practice platform. So we're giving them the best experience possible to prepare them for the real thing. In the real thing, you have got a limited amount of time. You've got 3 hours and 15 minutes exam time. There's 10 minutes at the beginning where you can do the pre-reading of the instruction, not the exam itself, but the pre-reading of the instruction. But you would have done that beforehand many times. Don't in the exam think that you're going to read the instructions for the first time. So you've got 3 hours and 15 minutes and you want to get on with it. You don't want to spend 15 minutes reading the exam at the beginning. That's not what you do. You have a strategy going into the exam and you know which question you are going to do first. So you go directly to that question. You do not faff about. So which question are you going to do first? I don't know. It's up to you. You don't have to do question 1 first, though, just because it's called question 1. Question 1 is a pre-populated spreadsheet. It may blow your mind. The easy rider thing to do might be to start at question 2. What are you most comfortable with? You want to start with a question where you're going to score good marks and not overrun. You mustn't concede an early goal. You've got to start well, builds the confidence, settles the nerves. You're an adult, you're an independent learner, so you make the decision as to which question you're going to do first and practice that technique. And when you've chosen that question, the first thing you do is to control copy paste the requirement into the word response area so you can close off the requirement and you've got permanently in your word response area the requirement. And you've got to trust the process in answering these questions. You don't really need to read Appendix 1, Appendix 2 and Appendix 3 if there is Part A and Part B and Part C to the question, because Part A will only relate to Appendix 1, Part B will only relate to Appendix 2 and Part C of the requirement will only relate to Appendix 3. So don't read Appendix 1 and then read Appendix 2 and then read Appendix 3. Your head will be exploding and you will have forgotten. It's not, strictly speaking, one question. Exam questions are broken down and you must develop that skill and awareness and trust the process in the exam. In the requirement, look for the word and. If you've got that lovely favourite three-letter word and, it means you can split. It means that you've got more than one requirement. Break it down. Time management is absolutely key. And if we keep 15 minutes as a contingency, if we keep 15 minutes in our back pocket, then we're looking to effectively earn a mark every 1.8 minutes. That is if you're going to get 100 marks. Okay? So there are 100 marks, there are 180 minutes. And that means effectively a 25 mark question should only take you 45 minutes. But in reality, it's A and B and C. And so a 10 mark requirement is 18 minutes. A 5 mark requirement is 9 minutes. You mustn't fall behind. A lovely painting there by Salvador Dali, if you're familiar. Yeah, you need to be marked out of 100. If there are parts of the paper that you do not attempt, the marker cannot give you any discretion. Cannot give you any discretion. You must be marked out of 100. That's the best way to ensure you get a pass. And you're all familiar with the law of diminishing returns. If your favourite question, if your favourite topic comes up for 5 marks, you cannot get 6 out of 5. You just can't. 5 is the maximum. And maybe even if you get 4 out of 5, instead of reaching for that 5th mark, start the next question. Because there will be some easy fruit, some low-hanging fruit to pick. You must JMO. You do know what JMO stands for, don't you? Yeah? Just move on. Now, when you're doing a mock exam, at home, in the library, in a quiet place, yeah, where it's you and you're not going to be disturbed and your phone is switched off, don't do it open book. In the exam, you are to time, and in the exam, you don't have access to the internet, to your notes. So if you're going to do a mock exam, treat it seriously. All right? Closed book, please. Closed book, please. You know, I'm talking sense. You know, you get out what you put in. If you don't want to rely on luck to pass this exam, make sure you do mock exams and you properly approach the mock exam and you debrief and you understand where you went wrong afterwards. Thank you very much for listening.